dance. That's what the plus is. Add the music that we are suggesting to you. We post it on our story. We make playlists. You come out to the party, you'll be Shazamming.
That's fire,
because
bro. I'm not even gonna hold you.
So trust us.
Yeah.
Group chat, welcome back to another episode of Creatively Speaking. It's me, the Howie Roseman of Record and Cook in the building. Excited to talk to y'all, man. We got some great things lined up. But first, introductions. Go to my brother over there.
Yes, sir. J-Law back with Creatively Speaking for another one. What we got? Episode 24?
24? Hey, we out here.
Consistency breeds performance. I don't know. Is that what they?
Hey, that felt right.
I like that one. I like that one. But yeah, episode 24. Ready to get into some things. We got a special guest with us too. We got Mitch, co-founder of Plus&Trust. Glad to have you with us, brother.
Appreciate y'all having me. That was smooth right there, man. I've been doing this for a while. 24 episodes. Got a little rhythm, man.
Hey, first off, man, you got the great audio voice. He's you can tell he in broadcast.
That's the quiet storm voice right there.
No, thanks for having me. It's after hours and we're here. But nah, man. No, first and foremost, man, how are you, man? Tell us about yourself if you don't mind. Introduce yourself.
No, I'm good. I appreciate that. For me, I'm doing good. It's 2025. And this has been a beautiful year. We're already at halfway point of the year.
It's crazy.
When you think about that, right? You're like that. And so, it's been fast, but it's had its ups and its downs. So I think there's beauty always in that in life. So not to get too deep, but everything has been everything. Family has been good. Friends have been good, and so it's a good season. We about to be back outside. Weather is about to break, so we're about to,
as it should, right?
You know what I'm saying? And outside, I mean, actually putting our feet in grass.
Yeah, for sure. Ground yourself.
Exactly,
you got to ground yourself.
Exactly, man.
Yeah.
So to say, I'm pretty grounded right now. As busy as it is, it's exciting times. So.
Dope. So yeah, we can, and we're excited to have Mitch here in the group chat with us today. We're going to get to the why in a second. But actually, we wanted to kick this off. Oh wait, before we get into that, we should probably catch up with what we've been new with us.
You're right. I got excited.
I was ready to get to the game too, but man, recently, For those who might have checked in before, I'm freelancing. I'm full time into this creative world now. And
welcome, brother.
Hey, I love what it looks like out here. This past weekend, I actually was at the Bullpen with Movement. They did their R&B their 2000s party. Sorry, their 2000s party, and they had Diamond for Crime Mob come out. And yeah, man.
That's by National Stadium.
It's right by National Stadiums. Okay. Yeah. The Bullpen be jumping too. I mean, you want. Where the function, it's the functions at the Bullpen typically.
Look, and the great thing about the Bullpen is that I'm born and raised in Manassas, so Northern Virginia. So I went to RFK to see Nats games, right?
Yeah.
Nats Park came, and you're like, yo, this is crazy. But then they build that Bullpen right there, and to see it grow into this, and for them to allow the culture in there, all
so you've seen it from the beginning. That's tough.
Yeah. You got to think of it that way. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. It hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
Not even 20 years. So,
right.
To see what people are doing week in, week out there, it's got good brand rep.
And to your point, for a space of that size, that capacity, I want to say it takes at least 3,000 people.
Yeah, at least easily.
To allow cultural moments to take place there, that's big, and I think that's kind of one of those, pockets of the DMV that you go there and you see the entire DMV. There's people from Baltimore there. There was some, of course, the set went crazy with the Go-Go went in there. Mm-hmm. DJ Money was DJing, and that's my guy. DJ Money is Wale's DJ, and so have him back. He did a set. Flo did a set. It was hosted by Helzel, so it was a really dope time. I got to capture a little bit of content that went on the Movement page, so shout outs to the people that let me interview them, because you never know, when you're capturing content at events, you don't know how people's reaction will be hey, I want to put you on camera, I want to interview you. So we did some fit checks, some finished the lyrics, and people were really receptive. I don't know if it was the approach, but it was really cool. So that was a dope experience. So to be there And now, like, that was almost like a pilot run of it. So, now, shout outs to Anwar for the opportunity, but it's like, okay, how can we figure out how to expand this going forward where at the function we can capture these moments? So that was dope, but that's been my world, man. How about Law? What's new with you on your side?
Hey man, it's still art season. By the time this recording drops, Artscape would have came and passed. But I've been working on a mural for Artscape, the biggest, largest free festival in America. Here in Baltimore, it's a big thing every year. But this year, they changed it. Usually in the summertime. Last year they had it in the late summer, and it's been a curse in like Artscape because it rains every single year, right? So it's interesting because they pushed it up to May to try to alleviate the rainy season and things like that. So we're excited we're hoping that it doesn't rain. The forecast is looking good for this weekend. So
yeah.
But I did a mural for them. It was about 34 artists we got together, and we did 42 pillars that we painted. It's interesting because when you do mural work, a lot of times you're just working by yourself. But when you have all the other artists next to you and you have the camaraderie and everything, it's like, bro, it's like being at camp, with different artists. You just don't get that on your everyday life. So it's refreshing to see different people's techniques. People don't gatekeep. Like, you really get to feel the energy of the other people that's gonna be there. So I feel real passionate because like it's real cool to be like working with your other colleagues in a industry where you work by yourself. You know what I mean? So that was dope. So doing that and just being out with the people, getting people ask you questions. My guy Cook pulled up in the early stages. But just finishing that up is just real impactful to see what we can do for the city of Baltimore.
Yeah, I got to double back that this weekend.
Actually,
I was going to go out of town, but I'm probably going to stay in town. So I'm gonna make that trip up there because, I got to see the work. And plus, I've been seeing the promo. I think Mayor Scott just dropped something with y'all. So, like, just to see, like, the art evolve, and to your point, like, we always champion collaboration over competition. So to see, like, artists actually embody that on the ground, that's fire. So, my guy, I appreciate you. So, all right, let's have some fun this time. Like, we mentioned last podcast, I dropped the Creative Connect game as a resource. And so it's something that we execute at our in-person activations. But we realize that when we have guests up here, what better way to get to know them? So, Law, if you want to, first off, what category do you identify as? We have visionary, artist, strategist, and go-getter. What do you identify as yourself?
I really don't. I can't stand y'all because you make me pick one, and it's like check all the boxes that apply. But like when it comes down to it, I would say the one category for me is strategist, because without strategy, there is really nothing. It's like it's kind of the strategist is kind of the person that puts people in the right positions, because if you have people in the wrong roles or where they don't feel comfortable, you have to be able to put a program together that allows people to thrive.
For sure.
Yeah. So strategists.
And if it makes you feel any better, I do say, like, what's your number one hierarchy in order? Because, like, me, I'm an artist at heart, but I'm a visionary by calling. So I always lean on the visionary side of when we connecting and doing something. So I feel it. It isn't a one box fits all type of thing. Like, but it's like, if 80% of myself is a strategist, and then like 20 might be.
I gotta look at the pie chart.
We gotta create your own pie chart. We should have that like a sketch activity. But Law, what we got for him for a question?
I was looking at these cards and I'm like, I was gonna do the random thing, but I'm being biased. I don't care. So I got a good one for you, bro. You can only pick one in terms of being strategic. Bold moves or small, consistent steps? Which one gets you to success faster and why?
Man, I love that question. I think, for me, I'm a subscriber to the long game.
Okay.
You talk about, growing up in an era of hip-hop as well that was like, I would call like motivational rap, Nipsey Hussle, right? The marathon.
Yeah.
Really subscribing to that. Yeah, during the pivotal years, being in college, those were the types of tracks that kind of built that mindset of like, look, you don't have to hit the overnight home run.
Yeah.
You will outlast many others because the hare did not win the race. The tortoise did. It's, you know, slow and steady is my type of speed. That's not for everybody. So, you know, what's for you is for you, and what's, you know, not for you is gonna miss you. So I think that's really the best way. But there's no one size, like you said, one size fits all. Bold moves are needed sometimes, right? In between those detours and stops of those small consistent steps. But you know, slow.
But you know what's funny about that, when you say that, and you know, you say you don't always need to hit the home run, but you know, those small consistent steps will get you to where you need to be. When it clicks, people think you hit that home run, but they don't see the vision when you are taking those small consistent steps behind the scenes. So it both plays a part. But I'm gonna agree with you. I'm a small consistent steps type of guy. That's going to lead me to, you know, the promised land, and I'm a proponent of that.
I mean, you definitely don't cut corners, man. You are inside the line.
Come on, man.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
literally
murals, right? Like, I mean, that's how. No,
patience.
I definitely. I would say it is. It's funny because, to your point, like, people think like I do these bold things, but it's like so many plays that go into executing this one. But what I actually want to go further into is because you mentioned Nipsey, and Nipsey is probably one of the artists that kind of outlines my trajectory of what I'm looking to help build, as far as like just a robust kind of creative ecosystem, so to speak, right? Last episode, the word of the pod. And so what's one of a Nipsey song, like what's your go-to Nipsey song or bar that you like hold on to from Nip that's like, nah, this the one that kind of helps me realign or adjust? Because I got some too, but I want to see what you got.
Man, I'll give you 3. Don't Take Days Off was one off of Crenshaw. There's some really inspirational verses on that. The second would be probably Keys to the City.
Okay.
1 or 2?
2.
Okay.
2.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.
That's on Victory Lap, right?
Yeah.
No, excuse me, 1.
Oh, okay.
It's Keys 2.
Yeah. the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one. Keys to the City, and then The Weather. The Weather is another Crenshaw like B-side out there. Like, I mean, we could throw 100 Nipsey songs out there, right, that motivate us. But those are three that I go back to that. You know, just really instilled that grind in like 2012, but also like made you realize you got to take care of yourself and not try and do everything. You know, it's step by step, baby steps sometimes. And those you know, Nip he's still inspirational to this day, which is crazy.
Man, I mean, like there's, I think about like, one, all of his like from Nipsey catalog, Crenshaw Slauson record, like let that play out, let that run through. And it's funny because there's even some times where I get like recently I heard the I think it was Bend Down record with Swiss Beats that him did, and I was like, oh, I missed that one, but hey, run that in the playlist,
deep cut.
Right? like you know what that looks like. But to your point, I think about Status Symbol is probably my. And he did like a trilogy of it, which is stuff like that makes me appreciate Nip, where it's like, yo, you can listen to Status Symbol 1, him and Buddy, and then by the time
put us on the Buddy,
right,
yeah,
right, and then you get to Status Symbol 3, where he's like, again, this is during Victory Lap, and it's like he made it, but the hook is almost forgot what I was doing, almost forgot where I was going, I've been driving, and it's like, yo, he's like made it, but in this way, it's almost lost himself. So that's where I look at a lot of the story arc of us creatives, like, yo, we do be on our path, but sometimes we get distracted by what the opportunity looks like, what the play looks like. And so Nip is definitely one of them people who, man, unfortunately was taken way too soon. I kind of, he's like, for me, what I think a lot of people before me view Pac to be. Like, I would say Nip would be that for me, where it's just like, no, everything that he said, the evolution of who he was kind of embodies what we wanted to carry on and what you build out to be. So, I like that. I like that. I think to your point of those small steps that lead to more, that's really what it comes to play. So talk about building something. Plus&Trust, man. You've been cooking, and you just did a West Coast party. So this is like the double plays are happening right now, man.
Hold on. I have to acknowledge this. Did we skip over K-Lig not being here? Did we? K-Lig, I got you, K-Lig.
You homie doesn't even pull up for my episode, man.
You know what's crazy? So that's funny.
No, don't
year.
do it now, Cook. No. I'm like, hold up. K-Lig, we miss you. K-Lig is out here. She I don't know where she is.
See, I was gonna respect it because K-Lig got something. You know, she getting something.
I know she getting to it. I know she
Yeah, I
is.
know she
you
getting
know.
to it. I know
but
she is.
And the funny thing is, so I guess, and on top of that, we didn't even explain how this gentleman
Am I
got
messy?
here.
Am I messy for that one? I had to acknowledge.
Law tried to shake the room. I see he tried to break the group up. First the fat boys break up. Not every day I wake up. Yo, first off, yeah, K-Lig, nah, we do miss you. We did just jump right into it. We ain't even acknowledge my good sis not being here. K-Lig is actually here in spirit because she's also a bridge between myself knowing Mitch and how. First off, Mitch, how do you know K-Lig?
Man, we go back to freshman year.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
she dodged this.
Yeah,
she didn't miss this. She saw the itinerary and said, "Nope, not getting those stories."
That's Roger's main crew for real. But you know, it's so funny. You're always in these spaces with people. And you never know what they'll turn out to be. And so that's the amazing thing is that we weren't always like directly hanging out or like, but we were in the vicinity of one another. And so like to see all the people that like we're at 10 years now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know, that we all kind of have grown and gone our separate paths. We're still here in the same area, you know, growing together, which is a dope feeling. So yeah, back to Rogers, man. She knows. ODU, man. That's the vibe.
Yo, we might be, I don't know, this pod might be like ODU sponsored because we had a mod on the live group.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mod, another ODU
yes,
grab.
Sir.
Last episode or 2 episodes ago was sponsored by Crystal from Pure Green.
I'm trying to tell you, there's some legends
like,
that were all these people that you're naming. Like I was watching them like be great and do things like Be Great is, you know, BeGreatDC. That's another nonprofit by ODU, like women that I've been around from like 2011. So yeah, ODU is deep in like Northern Virginia area. I could go on, man. I mean,
ODU, y'all gonna have to either sponsor or let us pull up to like execute something on the ground. Cause
we got homecoming coming up, man. Come on down, yo.
You said y'all homecoming coming up?
Yeah, so they did it this year. It's gonna be ODU, Hampton, and Norfolk State at the same time.
That's crazy.
Wait, the same weekend or
same weekend?
So you really got to choose.
There's some hard choices for some people, man.
Yeah,
I kind of had Hampton on my next one to go to, and
I'm not mad at you for that.
And behind the board, we ain't going. My man Lou graduated from Norfolk, so I mean that's his home team too. So
yes,
I don't know. We might have to do a marathon weekend.
and one of the co-founders. So there's 3 co-founders here, Plus&Trust, right? It's myself. John Tyson, he went to ODU with me. We did radio together.
Gotcha.
And then Josh Harrington, he is like a really creative mastermind. He's won Emmys. He went to Norfolk State.
Gotcha.
So, you know, Spartans are also deep in the DC area. So I got a lot of love for everybody in the peninsula. And that's really how this whole like communities come together. So a lot of my friends come from Hampton, Norfolk State. ODU. So I was just down there this past weekend, man. It always feels like home. So
that's dope.
We talk DMV a lot. We've been giving the V part a lot of love. I see, like they out here, like y'all active. So exactly. But I mean, even with that, like, so tell us what is Plus&Trust. Like for those who are hearing it, they might have seen the socials, but ideally, what is Plus&Trust built on, and what y'all do?
That's a great question. You know, for us, Plus&Trust is a music vehicle. You think about what Selection has grown to, and when we were in college, we were on SoundCloud. A lot of those artists on Selection, you know, matriculated on SoundCloud, and Selection was pushing them as well. And so we grew to know them, and you know, so me, Josh, John, we all knew during the pandemic when it started in 2020. We knew artists. We had been around them. We knew what stars looked like. We didn't like the way that they were being featured or the spotlight was being placed. It was kind of just this machine for like mainstream. So we were into underground music, still are. You know, not to name drop, but Masego went to ODU with us as well. So like we were there when it was, 30 people, 40 people at the performances, but you believe in the art, so you support the art.
Yeah.
So that's what Plus&Trust is. We're not like a huge like party collective. We throw like close friends. We throw some events, but we use those as vehicles to push a new sound. You're gonna dance. That's what the plus is. Add the music that we are suggesting to you. We post it on our story. We make playlists. You come out to the party, you'll be Shazamming.
That's fire,
because
bro. I'm not gonna hold you.
So trust us.
Yeah, that breakdown is fire. Sure.
I appreciate it. I'm trying to give you the elevated version, man.
Nah, it worked. Like I gotta pull up.
In my mind, I'm like, okay, where does the Plus&Trust come into play? But you breaking it down like that, it's deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not just surface level of a name.
You're gonna add the music, and you're gonna trust the music that we're giving you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because music is a vehicle and it is healing. And so we need to be careful with that art, and it also regulates your nervous system. So, we try to use that to like keep the community right here in the DMV, and whoever is online with us has started online and has come here to in real spaces. We keep it about that.
You know what's crazy? Cook is the guy that runs the plays in terms of a lot of things that we do, right? So us having the group chat event coming up, shameless plug, in June.
Yes,
Perfect plug.
June 28th.
Perfect plug.
Exactly, June 28th.
Saturday.
He was telling us about, Plus&Trust, and I never met you guys, or I didn't hear about, the group and everything. And it's like he was saying to kind of go coincide with Black Music. Was it Black Music Month?
Yeah.
That's going to be in June as well. So hearing the mission of you guys, when he got to play, I trust him. I don't need the breakdown because I trust his vision. So now hearing the entire play of what you guys stand for, what's behind, in collaboration with Black Music Month, and what we do and the things we highlight in the creative industry, with music being one of them, I'm like, this vehicle is crazy, bro. I'm already excited for the event just because that's what we do. But having the entire breakdown from the source,
yeah. So
June 28th, please pull up. I'm putting that out there early. We're gonna talk about it, but pull up.
I mean, I think this is a perfect time to talk about it now, because
sure.
and definitely getting that off, because to your point, like it, and I appreciate my team, and I appreciate Mitch. So I know he kind of gave a little bit of his background in knowing K-Lig. He and I actually crossed paths separately. Like it was, we knew we had friends in common, and it's funny because it's been something like, again, Kadeja was like, yo, I think y'all should connect. You should pull up to this. And I be seeing events online. I be wanting to go, but as we discovered last episode, I'm a whole flight away. So, sometimes them connecting flights don't really land for me to make it in time. And they be doing late events, and I'm like, hey, man, like the last Borton is like, 10. Like, where I'm going to go? It was, I didn't get a chance to actually experience their event, but as y'all heard in the past, I had joined the Black Golf Club in DC, and Mitch was a member. And so that's where, he and I kind of, I want to say it was actually at their the Cherry Blossom event where we like laid eyes on each other like, hey, you know what?
Sir.
Such and such has been talking. You're you. And the beautiful thing in this kind of digital era we live in, we do support people online before we ever even really know them. Like, yo, I love what you got going. I'm bought into that. What can we make sense now that we know each other in the real world?
Facts.
And so like the thought started there. And then like, again, just catching up, casual conversation or organic conversation. And then it was like, Black Music Month coming up. I know we want to have another conversation. Perfect time for us because, again, we just executed the one, I want to say March.
Yep.
We just executed the first one. And it's like, you know what? We want to do something again in this quarter. And then it was literally let's figure it out. And so from my lens of it, I saw it as just a great opportunity of, again, making something that's cohesive between having a good time and also what we do in connecting people. Because after our last event, our biggest thing was, well, what's the move after?
Yeah, exactly.
And we was like, we don't really know what's out here, what's around. And so that kind of sparked the idea of, well, what does it look like to actually link with somebody? So, from your lens, I know we talked about this, and again, shameless plug, and we're gonna just use this all as like social clips, you know.
Loving it, yeah.
June 28th, we are actually hosting our next group chat event. It's going to be taking place at Shanklin Hall, and I'm let you even get more into those types of parts of it. But I mean, we're going to be having a conversation. We're taking over from what, we 3 to 10. Like, we're going to really rock out the spot where we have the conversation. Was it later? I'm tripping. It's 5 to 10. I'm tripping.
It's
Yeah,
like it's somewhere in that range. Look,
I'm tripping. Hey,
I think it is 5. Yeah, it's 5 to 10.
It's 5 to 10. I did the math. I was like, wait, that's a whole goddamn.
I said, wait, we doing a day party?
He over here, news to me. You must have went behind my back. But nah, we go to the event's from 5 to 10. 5 to 8, we're kicking off with the group chat, and we're having a great conversation with the homie Kia Turner, who's a journalist, who's an exceptional journalist. She's written for Erykah Badu, Andre 3000, like done these great interviews. And the real theme of this is the frequency of us, because it's Black Music Month, and we really want to talk about like how Black storytelling and just connection has evolved on our end and what we have going on. But then after that, the afties is in the same spot, and we get it popping with Plus&Trust. So, sir, please tell us more about your lens of it, and your thoughts.
No, man. This is, you said organic connections, and that's literally how our whole ecosystem has grown here in DC. We have the residency at Wild Days because we sent an email and asked. It was early on, it's 2022. And so the first DJ we had was Kromanichi. We didn't even really have the bread. We booked him out here. He came out here and DJ. This is the guy that's on SoundCloud, chill hop, like legend, right?
Yeah.
He's been doing all these things. And so fast forward to now, we have the residency at Shanklin Hall as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful space.
Yeah.
A beautiful Black family owns it. And it's one of those stories. In Adams Morgan, right? Like, there's so much foot traffic and diversity in that community. And so I think it's beautiful that you hit me that day. We dapped up. You said, yo, I know you. I said, yo, I think I know you too. And then I realized that you were on the podcast clips I was seeing. And so this is all, some introspection here is like, dang, that's crazy. Now we're sitting here a couple months later, all because, there are like-minded people in the community that want to just spread good words and also give resources in the community. We don't all have it figured out, but all we're doing is showing up and trying to enrich people. So this conversation is going to be an opportunity for people to get enriched by somebody that's a professional in the industry, that is doing things in a multi-dimensional way in creativity. And then also hear from you guys. And, obviously this conversation, I'm rocking with it. So I'm excited about that part, the ambiance of Shanklin Hall, the intimacy of that is going to be a vibe. And then my boy Trey, who is going crazy in the city right now, is going to, DJ for us in that after party portion. It's going to be a happy hour. So perfect time to kind of move into the nighttime. If you were napping earlier in the day, or
for sure. Look, get your morning rest in. Get up early, hit the gym, go back home, take a nap, pop out for the group chat. We'll have the Creative Connect card game there too, so you can actually play and get to know people in an actual in depth, like a little bit more, instead of like these passing connections that you might not ever really know, like who did I actually connect with?
Who are you?
Who are you? And so I love that element of it. And then also, to your point of something I really want to spotlight here is just willingness to collaborate and just kind of let things evolve in a piloted way. Because a lot of times when we're pitching ideas to people, we're like, oh, do I tell them what my idea is? Like, to your point of earlier, like gatekeeping and how often people do that. Exactly. Like, we are really moving in a culture that's like, yo, there's no gatekeeping. Like, this is what the play is. This is what I can bring to the table. Let me know what it looks like for you in your capacity. And honestly, like, it was 100% like, this has been, what I would say, like 2-3 months of a meat to an execution. Like, we're talking about like, okay, this, that, and I will say he definitely should have the strategist car because he was 100% like, he sent the Google invites to, all right, let's set the meeting. Like, I appreciate you, my brother, because I do not want to do that.
If it's not on the Google Calendar, it might be a struggle, man.
Nah, for sure. That's law too. If it ain't on the Google Calendar,
on the calendar, it don't exist.
It ain't even booked for real. So, you know what I mean? This is a great way to celebrate again Black Music Month. A great way to kick off a partnership and alignment because this is only the first play that we're doing together. So only can imagine how it can evolve with time and with actual cohesiveness of like meeting the teams and connecting people on the team where it's like, oh, I like what you stand for, you know? And so this is just a really great opportunity to execute something. So I'm excited. I think the timing is great. Happy Black Music Month. You know, this episode is probably going to come out at the end of May, but this is how we setting our Black Music Month. Like, we're not going to wait till then to celebrate. Like, we starting that now. And so I'm excited to celebrate this and this light with y'all. So speaking of Black music though, Streets has been hot right now.
No, facts,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if y'all have been aware.
Great transition, brother.
Hey, you know, it's like I do this. It's like I be potting. It's like I be potting.
Episode 24.
Right.
Come on, man.
My man. So we seen last year the Drake and Kendrick battle. Cool, happened. It did what it did. Since Joey Bada, East Coast rapper out of New York, has been going crazy. He's actually mentioned K-Dot in some records, and then it was like open up the portal for West Coast artists to say, hey, we rap too. Yeah. And so for those who aren't aware, Joey Badass has been in a battle with TDE. I say TDE because there's like literally every member, Rayvon, Daylight, and Reason. And so first off, what have y'all seen about this battle? Anything have y'all been aware of this that's happening?
So it wasn't on my radar until you told me about it. But after doing some research, because it came across my radar on Twitter for real, and it was one of those things where it's like, is it in too deep? Sometimes it's like, is it going to take me too long to do the research to really go into it? So I really didn't do a deep dive, but after you told me about it, I definitely went back and looked at some things, and it's kind of like, what's the play from Joey Badass? It's like, are these true feelings, or is it just like a ploy to be in the spotlight? Because the things that you're doing, and even mentioning K-Dot, it's like, all right, the man's on tour. How much visibility that you really gonna get from doing this at this point in time? So, I'm kind of on the confused boat of it. So I don't know what the intention or the reason for, because I don't think the caliber is there personally, but that's just
so
me.
That's funny because that came up as a question.
Okay.
I think somebody, a guy low key actually, he said on Twitter, he was like, I don't think Joey has done enough to distract Kendrick from the tour that he's on right now.
Yeah.
And so,
even if he wasn't doing anything to distract,
literally, someone also put like the Mortal Kombat graphic where it's like, all right, you got Rayvon, Daylight, Lees, and then Kendrick's at the top. It's like, yo, you still on this level. Like, you ain't even get to this part of the battle yet. No, and so, a couple things that I will also point out for just category information that we can discuss. One, Joey Badass has done they did like a Red Bull Cypher freestyle when it was him, Big Sean, and Absol. And then in there he like literally goes at Daylight like I don't need a flight pass. I don't need a boarding pass to pack light. Like, went at it, right? And I'm a bars person. That's always been my thing. I'm here for the bars. And then Rayvon did the follow up where he did a nice little comeback at him too. But then this is the part where I want to jump in on the mindsets of other creatives. Then Joey Badass dropped the finals freestyle that again he snapped going at Rayvon, but then he also filed for TDE East as a trademark, and then actually launched a website called tdeast.com. And so, just from a strategic standpoint, like we talking about almost playing like mental war. Like how ahead of rap battle, which this is more fun than the Kendrick and Drake one. Like the Kendrick and Drake one was like, oh my god, stop, he's killing him.
That was personal.
Exactly right.
That felt aggressive. But in terms of just the creativity of things like that. Would like to get y'all thoughts on like, all right, strategy and rap battle, but then really, what would it take for a Kendrick to respond in your mind? Like, what would it mean? What would you have to see happen for that?
I think the strategy behind it for Joey, he doesn't even have to really go at K Dot at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you've the court of public opinion, as it seems on social, is that Joey is winning against most of these dudes, right? Like they might have hit some, jabs, fight back, but I think for the most part, he's done what he's needed to do, and he's responding swiftly.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving you some memorable like bars in each track. This doesn't have like this long standing like feud of like personal ties, right? And things have gone kind of sour, it feels like, right? This is just out of nowhere, right? And so, all right, cool. But yeah, like you said, there's levels, and I don't think Kendrick needs to like he's about to be in the city in a few weeks, man. He's about to have 3 shows at SoFi sold out, man. Mm-hmm. Please. But that's where I would get a freestyle off if I'm kidding. Like, I'm thinking about the sport of rap, right? Yeah. And this is really reestablishing that. And it's funny, again, this whole conversation that we're talking black music and what that leans into. You watch a Sinners and they talk about like the power of music and things like that. Movie. Hey, I was gonna say that for another one, but you look at what I realize is happening, and I think it's very important right now, as we're seeing so much happen in our country that we can't control, right? Is the creatives are getting back to creating, and they're getting back to executing what they know how to do and what they can do. And so the one thing that I love about this and the element of it is not only is because, I mean, Joey is good. He's unique on Power. He just got another run of play, which, I mean, if you watch Power, they know how to just keep somebody alive. Like, man, no one dies in that show. And so, he's back on that show. He's doing that, which is why you get a lot of unique flips from the other artists that are dissing him. But you do that, and then you're at a place where you could kind of duck these people and be like, nah, I'm talking to your boss. But you're going at these different artists. And what I like about that is you're not kind of shying away from what this can be, and it let everyone else know, yo, just shut up and rap. You're saying on this show, you got 24 hours to respond. Yeah. Anything outside of 24 hours, shot clock violation. Like, you took too long. And, like, this is what I'm enjoying, the spirit of that happening. And to another point that I think he's doing a good job at, because I know Rayvon, like, talked about ghostwriting for his baby mom, he would say. And then Joey's coming back like, not my baby mom, that's my fiance. Like, watch him out. Like levels to it. But it's not getting as personal as the Kenny and the Drake one. But talking about Weiss, that also brings to what else is happening in the space of content production and creation. Yeah. And the next topic of thought was, for those who aren't aware, RG3. Man, sorry, Commander fans. He's a cornball. This gentleman had a rant going in about Angel Reese's hatred towards Caitlin Clark, and just this whole breakdown that was completely self thoughts, like his own projections on what he thinks something is. And in this, you can see the clip online as he's talking about Angel Reese. He has his before I even get to that point, he makes his take. Ryan Clark stands up and says, hey, you know what? Like, you have a skewed view on this because your entire history of dating tends to be those that resemble more Caitlin Clark than Angel Reese. You don't know the plight of Angel Reese to be able to speak on these types of things, right? Based on this history. And then RG3 comes out and says, hey, you crossed the line. You didn't just cross the line, you sprinted past the line, mentioning my wife and family and the type of women I date. All these things. And it is literally a funny juxtaposition to the battle where you got one person like, oh, we're keeping this way. And then you got this other person that's like, this is the line that you don't cross. However, when you go back, you look at this conversation, RG3 is having this initial take with his wife in the background. And she's nodding, agreeing, saying all these things. Where my question is, what is the intentionality and content
and what is the line when it comes to what we talk about in these media spaces?
Right.
Because I think that is where he's saying that there's the line at. So throwing that out there for the group chat to talk about.
I think it's interesting because I like where media has gone in this day and age because it's not just traditional anymore. So, you know, a lot of these times they're on their own platforms, what they're doing. Of course, you still have some type of responsibility, but you don't have to always just go by the book, by the rule, as if you're on Good Morning America or something like that. So, from the standpoint, I think you got to really think about the way that RG3 went about not his attack, but his approach. Like, it's not a mistake that your wife is in the background. And if she was in the background, I can understand if she was reading a book or you're just recording and it's a natural setting. But she's literally listening to your conversation, agreeing, having heard, mannerisms.
Placed on his right shoulder.
Yeah.
So, like, yes. Like,
Exactly.
Like, we media enough to know that, right?
Yeah,
Like-
someone that's framed his own live shot up, hundreds of times. Come on now.
Yeah, it's intentional. So, when you say fair game, I'm not sure if that's the term to use, but you can't be mad when somebody comments on that because you put her in the frame to be a part of the conversation, which she was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, in my opinion, I wouldn't, talk about another man's wife and things like that. But what Ryan Clark saying ain't wrong. I mean, let's be real here. Your view is skewed based on your history. I mean, facts are facts.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, I think it's just like, I don't think he crossed the line, but you gotta bear some responsibility in that yourself, RG3, and you can't be so, hurt about it because you framed it up. If she was never in that frame, I'm pretty sure that probably wouldn't have been the topic of conversation. You brought it to the light.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand on it from my perspective.
You gotta stand before I start to do an ISO.
Man, I tell you what, man. All I will say is I just remember, when people were saying he was a cornball brother back then. And I was younger and I was like, well, maybe he's not. I don't really know him.
Yeah.
But, there's two sides to this. And, what you both said, this is social media. This is the internet.
Yeah.
When you put things on the internet, you make yourself susceptible to being cooked. We grew up in middle school. We went to, the middle of the hallway before the bells rang in the morning. You had the row circles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're going to hop out here in the internet lane, you need to be ready that someone could say something brazen because they might not have to see you again.
Yeah.
Between those two, I'm sure they'll cross paths again. I'm sure they'll come to some conversation and on the side, which I will host a 35, 40 plus. But, I think, like you said, Lou, it's not law. It's not wrong. You didn't have to say it, but yeah, I think it's interesting, when you have two black men that with those prominent platforms, right, doing that on that. You got to get back to like the root of it. It's WNBA basketball. Let's talk about the amazing women playing the game.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I've been around Don Saling and those teams. Like most of those women, like those teams are amazing that you see in college, and then they go into the WNBA. It's a different model and exposure, right? But I think the WNBA is amazing. It has grown, and I think you got to continue to support it, but it doesn't help with discourse like that. So sorry to be on a ramble, but that's just how I feel about that.
And before you clear out, Cook, I just want to say I do think you still have to give credit to the women that really then become the topic of this conversation. But Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, because even just their playing hard and their fearlessness to the game is why we're having these conversations.
Thank you.
It's a hard foul, of course, but it wasn't a crazy foul.
Nah,
You know,
it was the push at the end though.
Yeah.
Once you extend your arm, like
Right, yeah.
I'm getting up too. Let's have a conversation.
Exactly, but it's like they
Yeah.
really hooping and they really passionate about what they're doing, and that's why it's getting eyes on it. And at the end of the day, I feel like you gotta have the opposite side from a gender aspect to find the relevance in the sport in terms of everybody being included, and everybody showing interest in it. So shout outs to them for it. But
I think that breaks down to your point. Let's keep the main thing, right? One, women's sports has definitely grown. You know, it's definitely evolved too, and to the point also, like, we are also talking about the first game in a WNBA season. Yeah. Like, this is game one. I'll be honest, I didn't care about the NBA this year until the playoffs, right? Like, so you're talking about an actual, like, just the evolution of this product and why there's so many eyeballs on it. And to your point, they hooping, you know. And so first tier, women hooping, let's celebrate them, all right? Clear, check first level, like we talked about earlier. Second level, RG3's reference to this young woman's reaction saying that, oh, this is hatred. I know hatred, all these things. It's messy. Yeah. You know, there is one, we know no one's intent mentally, whatever that looks like. And, you know, he doesn't need to approach that conversation of that way. It is, hey, they acknowledge it. It was a hard foul. That was good to go. The Fever blew them out that game. Like, you know, there is a bigger conversation on roster depth and the difference of support and what that looks like.
Say that.
You know, someone get Angel some help. Right. All right. That's what we need to be talking about. And then he referenced her, you know, her comparison and how she takes credit and wants to be included in the conversation of the evolution of women's sports beyond just Caitlin, because Caitlin has had an impact in terms of bringing eyes in it. But if it wasn't for an Angel Reese who won the championship, you get the whole look, like, you get this dynamic because there is a storyline about it. Someone being really good at basketball by themselves. Perfect example. Last year, Paige Buckler ball, but the storyline wasn't the same without a actual kind of powering or comparison force that would have been an Angel Reese. So that shows you that her actual value in it is what raised that conversation too. So there's that tier of it, but then there is the aesthetic of your frame and shot. We have all gone through the pandemic, and we have all been on the Zooms where you've seen somebody get on camera, like, turn your camera off. Why would you show that? Like, you know what you're doing when you set your camera up. You get a shot of yourself and say, hey, this is my back. Hey, I need you to get out my background, right? And so you let this woman sit behind you with a coffee mug, nodding and agreeing as you talked in comparison to a black woman. Now, she doesn't need to be there. Like, if you want to make this take by yourself, it's still wrong. It's still inappropriate to call that out what that looks like or trash, but you are now using her as a prop. I would intentionally on a Zoom set up where I have a J-Law image in my background, so it's like, yo, what's that piece of artwork behind you? That's Law. That's my guy. This is what he does. So I wouldn't put anything behind me that I wouldn't want to have spoken on or I didn't want to speak to. That's another tier. Then Ryan Clark's response had nothing to do with his wife being there in the video. It was, yo, your taste is your taste. You seem skewed based on what you surround yourself with. And that is why I feel like the comprehension, and this part is where I call RG3 corny, because this is now a lack of your comprehension and realizing, yo, it's not about my wife. It's about the fact, like, honestly, I would have a skewed view in the opposite way. I love hanging around black women. I got their opinions on things like, nah, it's been good to it. But I think there has to be a point, and this is the conversation I think people really need to start to have, is you got to check your privilege. You have a privilege of being around this type of person where you see their privilege and what they go through, and you're like, oh, let me fight their battles. But their privilege is higher than this other person. It takes Angel had to go to Maryland, go to LSU, then gravitate. Caitlin got to go her own way and what that evolved to be. So to all that to be said, I think that, one, it's fair game, anything you put in the content world. That's number one. You know what I mean? I expect people to look at the creatively speaking behind Mitch when he's talking. I expect people to look at the Osmo I got. I expect people to, like, we set these things up around us because if you ask me about it, I want to talk about it. So I'm not going to do that in a space of that. And then two, the responsibility has to be on you to actually have some type of formal thought, like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of do be around that a lot. That's kind of my type. I shouldn't argue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you put your cape on, acknowledge that you put your cape on, but you can't put your cape on and then get mad that someone beat you up. Like you didn't profess to be Superman.
Exactly.
And then you Clark Kent talking about something. Yeah, yo, they was out here dogging Lois. Stop saying the Lois. Say somebody else. Like, it's literally the movie. Like, oh, that's who you love. Let's double back on that. You know what I mean? And so I think there is, so to the conversation or what we talk about, like, you know, when we're bringing in kind of civilians and things, like, because we saw this in a going back Kendrick Drake battle, Drake Pusha T battle, mentioning people's significant others in spaces when they aren't involved in the community is a flag. Yeah. Yes, that's a line that we cross. But when you prop this person up in this space to be a part of what you're bringing in, again, know what you're putting them up against, but then also know what comes back with that. Yeah. And I think RG3 thought he was being Kendrick in the situation where it's like, you mentioned my fiance, or you weren't. You put her back there, and then you try to double down on another black woman, so we're going to call you out for it. So, yes, RG3, personally, I think you're corny. I commented under the comment, yo, it's corny. That's my thoughts and opinions on it. But all that said, I know we've been rapping about a lot in this group chat episode. Please let us know what y'all think. If I'm corny for calling them corny, let me know. I ain't think so.
Hey, man.
But, you know what I mean? That aside, man, I think that, you know, especially in this episode, we spoke a lot about what it means to celebrate being black, what it looks like to be black, and the different nuances of it. But as we kind of begin to close this conversation, I would ask, you know, where do we feel like in terms of Black Music Month impact, what we're doing, all this happening, where do we feel like is something that we want to shed more light on or have people look to in these types of conversations and spaces as guidance instead of offense? I don't know. I'm freestyling right now. We in the back of it.
I was about.
Oh, good.
I was just saying that was about.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think one thing that kind of gets my attention, and I think more spotlight needs to be on, are, you know, musicians, artists that aren't in the spotlight, but like they're doing dope things. And I find that a lot in, you know, the Baltimore music scene. And honestly, it's really up to me to expand out to different cities as well. I don't because that's my space. So it's just cool because you hear about all these things mainstream, but if you really tap into the people that are local, the people that are, you know, really making an impact in the community, and you get to see some dope things that they're doing, it's like, bro, it's a lot of talent out here that just because you're not in the limelight don't mean that you're not doing anything. And a lot of times we tie success to money and funds and things like that. It's a lot of dope projects that are being funded as well. You know, I'm going to tell y'all how to get $1 or how to try to get one anyway. And I think a lot of things that are happening in, you know, the state of Maryland and Baltimore and the creative scene, I think it's very impactful. And I just think more light doesn't have to be shed on it, but just pay attention to it because you can see the changes that are happening and how they're affecting the people from the things that are doing. So that's what I would take away from it going into Black Music Month. It's just a lot of dope things, and I think meeting you, you know, Mitch, with Plus&Trust, that's going to be even a further vehicle that I, you know, dive into in terms of the people that, you know, you guys shed spotlights on, or, you know, the DJs you bring in might not be people that I listen to on the regular or things like that, but I know that they have some type of impact. Listen to what you're saying. I know I can only trust it.
So you got to pull up this weekend. Yeah. We got DJ Shay from Baltimore. Okay. We got, you know, Trey is going to be, he's Baltimore's own. It's going to be, you know, DJ in the group chat.
Nah, I got
after
I
party,
gotta tap in for sure. I got to tap in.
Yeah.
I might have to be you say you're a resident at
we'll chat offline. Hit the group chat.
Right. Nah, man, and
but that's what I take from it. Yeah.
Nah, yeah, I think that's a great space to be in. One thing, it's funny because, like, and I kind of cap this conversation just a second ago, and I like where you went with it. But Ryan Clark did just kind of put something on Threads, which I enjoy Threads.
Oh yeah,
Threads is like
pretty
my
Threads
solid.
is the new
Threads is like what Twitter was in 09, like
literally,
2010. Like it's the same thing. I kind of want to bring back Follow Friday. Like that used to be my joint.
That
like,
that was.
But again, we'll
Take me
see.
back to MySpace for real. I'm gonna let you know who my dogs are.
Right.
Let you know
These
who
are
my
my
dogs
top
are.
8.
Right.
Yo, there should be like a top 8 for like communities. Like, yo, these are my top 8 brands. Like
Yeah.
Plus&Trust, like the group chat. Like, hey man, we might be cooking with something. But no, this is something that he said that I think is dope. When you say it, you stand alone in its effect, whether good or bad. That's not only a responsibility of your platform, but a privilege. I don't control how you comprehend my words, but I control the thought I put into them. That matters to me. So funny because we talked about privilege, and I think like to the point of privilege, I think the counter to those who might have less privilege than others, for those of us who are on the come up, is community. You know, it is finding like-minded people. It is finding those types of audiences. And so, like to what Law point was, I'm excited for just the maturation of this connection and building with Plus&Trust, because it is like, hey, I know we have this pocket of community that we built for the creatives, but our creators want a safe space that they can get put onto music and get to actually enjoy and pop out and party with people without feeling lost in the crowd or feeling overlooked in their experience. So again, I want to say thank you, one, for pulling up.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Thank you for actually having this conversation with us. Before we get into closing out names, I know we typically kick off a resource every episode, and I'm springing this on you last minute, so I'm gonna let you sit and think, you know, of like what you would say a resource would be for you. But I can kick off this resource with something I have. Recently, I've been back on Patreon more, and a friend of mine who I went to middle school with, she has a production company. She's grown it. Like, she's done commercials for Nike. She's featured the love of my life, Taylor Rooks, in that, you know, and what that looks like. But she now has a Patreon where you can be a membership to it, and it's called McCole Creative Studios. But in this, actually 18 hours ago, she just dropped the apps I use to run my company. Love that. She actually has BTS footage of the commercials that she's done, but in her shop she has PDF templates. One is a production template bundle that comes with everything, but some of those templates are production crew staffing template, a shot list template, a budget template, call sheet, and call sheet for film template, and a call sheet for photo shoot template. So I mean, I just recommend McCole Creative Studios on Patreon as a resource. I think it's like $18 a month to be a member at this tier where you have access, but there are free and lower tiers. And I love how she's channeling her setup, because she said, like, hey, I want to create content, but I don't want to just put it on YouTube where everybody and their mom can just pick it apart. I want to put it somewhere where someone has to intentionally step towards what I'm building out, and they know, like, I can grow in this. And I think she's doing an amazing job of that. So shout outs to McCole Creative Studios and their Patreon. I am a member. I am applying for those, you know, one-on-one conversations, so I'll holler at you for that too.
Nah, that's fire. That's fire.
Yeah, go to you, Law.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. Well, I'll follow up. So my resource is Maryland State Arts Council. They literally just opened up their public artist roster. It's something that they do every 3 years. So if you don't get in these next 30 days, you got to wait another 3 years to be on the public artist roster. So basically what that is any type of organization across the country, they partner with the different art organizations, the public art organizations of different states. So Maryland, Virginia, Jersey, any state has them. And it can be projects from architects, from new buildings, real estate, nonprofits. They have this database of artists where, you know, you upload your portfolio and you have your work, and people can find you for opportunities to work on their projects. And I think it's a great way to get your work out there, so you can be searchable, so people can find you. And it's just one of those things that you want to be a part of. So the deadline is June 30th. You definitely want to make sure that you apply before then. They have webinars that can help you with your portfolio, to upload your work, how to be most effective. We out here to get in the bag, man. We have talents, and people want our talent, so why not be a blessing to those people with your talents? So public artist roster, make sure you apply to that. Yeah, that's mine.
Hey, and it could be anything for you, even your organization. So any resource that you have based on like being a strategist or things like which like go to product or community that you would recommend.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't know if I have a specific resource, but I would just shout out some of like we talk about community. Our pillars are music, actual community, and then art. And so to learn everything that you're doing has me excited because I'm like, dang, I know Baltimore is J-Rob. He's a producer that's, out there in the internet. I know Baltimore is J-Law, and I got the art aspect, you know what I'm saying? So now I just need the community part up there. But, so I would say as far as community, BeGreatDC is an organization that we work with. And we do an annual school supply drive with them in August before we go back to school. They do regularly throughout the year, though, here in the D.C. area, laptop drives to help students that are, at risk or do not have the finances to get a laptop and or Wi-Fi. They help the homeless community as well, and the chances to volunteer with them, to pass out food. To people that could use it or of assistance. And they also pass out toiletries and things of that nature. So that's one organization. And then, as I said, this organization as well, because, again, we can use all these buzzwords, right, about creatives and resources, but we've wanted to create this ecosystem where everybody can sit at this long dinner table and that we all can eat. And that we all can provide opportunities for one another. So I would say continuing to listen to the podcast, subscribe to the pod.
For sure.
For sure. Because you guys are doing something that is needed, is necessary. And I'll finish with this. I keep seeing this reel on Instagram and TikTok about don't worry about numbers, don't worry about engagement, right? Like, 10 people in a room, that's a pretty intimate room, right? 50 likes. Hey, that's half an auditorium, and so on. So, we're all out here on this, some people are in this rat race. I don't subscribe to it, but at the same time, just keep doing what you're doing. That long game, man.
No, for sure.
Nah, I appreciate you. And where can people follow, support, and check you out before we close this up?
At Plus&Trust, I am Mitch B, at Mitch B Spins, at Mitch B TV. Any of those you can find on Instagram. I got like 5 Instagrams. So.
Yeah, and we definitely bypass the fact that you also DJ at these events too. Like,
That's fire.
Like, I mean, like he not just like that's why he was like, yo, really just a strategist because I'll be here cooking too.
No,
so thank you for just all your contributions to the creative space, the creative community. For those that are tapped in, as always, group chat, man. We appreciate y'all for being a part of this conversation. We hope that it was a conversation you enjoyed, and if you didn't, tell us so we can talk about what you care about. But with that said, like and subscribe to the podcast, CTLN Network on all platforms. And we'll talk to you soon, man. Keep channeling creativity.
Peace.